Ooh, what a week to be a fan of cars and motorsport. Welcome to Is It Fast Live, the weekly magazine show from Is It Fast, where we bring you the latest from the world of motorsports, cars, watches, and everything in between. This week, we've got chills. They're multiplying. In fact, they're electrifying. As with most new car news these days, most of what we have on today's show, just to warn you, plug in and go, it's about EVs with a peppering of petrol-powered podium chat as we review some of what's been going on in the motorsport world. But as per usual, I am not on my own. Why get one Stu when you can buy two? How are you, other Stu?
I am very well. And Stu, you are the one that I want to guide me through these EV cars. I'm just absolutely delighted to be here once again. You still haven't found a replacement, so delighted.
You know, it's very difficult to find another person with the same name, spelt the same way, willing to put up with my stuff. So
it is difficult to find adequate assistance these days. Yeah,
this is all too true. But as we do mention at the top of this show, which has just started live, unless you're watching this after the fact or even listening to it, because we are in the top 15 of all motorsport and automotive podcasts in the UK, which is quite worrying. I'm not entirely sure how that is figured out, but it was done independently, not by me. So must be true.
Yep, absolutely delighted. That was a phenomenal chat line I was using all weekend. Just brilliant. It's up there with Billy Ocean's "Get Out of My Dreams, Get Into My Car."
Yeah, which is what will be tattooed on one of us at some point. I'm almost certain of it. But as we mentioned at the top of this live weekly show, in store today, we are talking about the legendary car that is the Delta, but it's back a little bit differently. We have another double touring car champion to talk about. If you want to fly away with me, we have an American Airlines special as we talk about watches, which we all love. Yes, indeed. And just like you, I'm not wearing my watch today for the first time in a long time. But we are going to start this week with an absolute legend. Not the same kind of legend as we started last week. Shatner went to space. Conversation for another day. But we start with news out of Italy. So, the Lancia. Now, depending where you're from, if you're Italian, it's Lancia. If you're apparently from anywhere else in the world, it's Lancia. The Delta is set to come back. It's going to come back as an electric hatchback, announced this week in an interview from Lancia boss Luca Napolitano. What a name. He was giving an interview in the Italian newspaper, the Corriere della Sera, and he was talking about how Lancia need to come back bigger, better, and stronger. He's saying that the Ypsilon, which is what they currently sell, it's the only model they do sell, a new EV version of this will come back in 2024, and then the new EV Delta will come back in 2026. Not, however, looking anything like the Delta Integrale of Rally of the days gone by, unfortunately. But 2026, I know, 2026 we're looking at this. So the new Delta will probably sit on the STLA medium platform. This is all automotive jargon, but it's the STLA medium platform C and D segment car, which is, now that they're part of the wider Stellantis group, will be on the same platform as the Peugeot that we see here, the 308. It's also, incidentally, the same platform that the Vauxhall Astra sits on. So Napolitano said that Lancia will head back to possibly a number of European markets. Hopefully it won't look anything like the last Delta Rebirth, which was this monstrosity. Horrible thing. The original Delta...
That's
was
just budget jag
oh
grill,
mate,
isn't it?
it's
That's
horribly. This came back. I think it was 2008 to 2015. The original Delta, like this one here, was sold from 1979 to 1999. Obviously, several tweaks throughout. But the headline: Delta is back with an electric platform heading into 2026, allegedly. And depending where you live in Europe, you could walk into a DS showroom or an Alfa Romeo showroom and order one. So that is news from Lancia. Are we excited to see the Delta back, hopefully in a decent format?
Yeah, it really was actually. Also hints that Lancia is going to be expanded into a number of European markets, looking at France and Germany as well, focusing with online sales, but partnering with Alfa Romeo, so you can actually go through those dealerships.
Yes.
Which is awesome. Dare I dream that, like, they did kind of come out and quote to say that Lancia will be focused on the small, compact flagship models. Are we just dreaming that they're not going to try and churn out a bunch of stupid SUVs, please?
Well, they're saying that it won't. That it doesn't sit inside. I mean, the problem you've got is Stellantis, which is now this mother group of Peugeot, Vauxhall, Opel, Lancia, Alfa Romeo, Maserati, Fiat, I think are in there as well, Chrysler. There's so many Jeep. There's so many different brands that live within this super group. And obviously they're going to share platforms and they're going to share tech, which is why they've done this. It makes things cheaper. But at the same point, they have made noises. All the CEOs of all the different brands, they've all made noises about the fact that they're going to keep the different brands true to their heritage. And that's fine. Like Peugeot have a heritage. And look what they're doing with Peugeot. I like the 308. I like the 508. They can't do any worse than what they did with like the last Delta. I mean, look at this absolute honking pig of a car.
I think the brown really sells it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, what a beauty, and the Ypsilon, which I just couldn't bring to show anybody tonight because
it's like that's honestly like your mum's made you a papier-mâché Darth Vader mask for Halloween. That's stunning. Oh.
Yeah, what a beauty.
Don't worry, your asthma will help.
Yeah. But at the same stage, if they're going to manage all the different brands properly, if they're going to help give, because Lancia have been struggling. I mean, Lancia have always struggled, in lots of different ways. They've made cool cars, but they've always struggled from a business perspective. Hopefully, this will be the thing that changes it. And of course, most new cars that are announced that are going to come down the line, they're nearly all going to be EVs, aren't they? That's just the way it is. So I don't know if we're particularly surprised that when they bring the Delta back, it's going to be an electric car. And by 2026, it's only going to be better range, better performance, and hopefully better build quality than Lancia are famous for.
But look at the shell on that Delta. Obviously, that is a class of Delta. The crisp lines on it, loving the little kind of skirt as well.
Oh,
please, could it be something like that? Go on, very eye-catching.
I love the Delta. I love the Delta Integrale. I love everything about it. It's going to be a tough ask, but there we have it. The Lancia Delta is going to make a comeback as an EV hatchback, probably in 2026. Tell us in the comments, are you excited that maybe this will be the time that the Delta name has a rebirth that is worth its famous name? Who knows? But there we go. It's interesting. I know there's a load of people are going to jump in and say, oh no, EVs, blah, blah, blah. Do you know what? If we're not used to EVs by this point, regardless of how you feel about them, it's happening, mate. It's happening.
Look,
so
they are going nowhere because the batteries ran out.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
No, they're here to stay. The idea is coming.
Yeah, they are here to stay. I mean, we can talk about hydrogen another day, but it is what it is. And if you're bored of EV chat, then you should probably not tune in for the next segment. Let's all be honest. Right here on Is It Fast? Right here on Is It Fast? Right here on Is It Fast? We are talking about MG. Now, MG, the original company went bust many moons ago. The brand was bought up by the Chinese, and they have steadily been bringing MG back to the UK market with a number of different models, the Z, the ZS, and all the rest of it. And you know what? They're not bad. And MG this week announced that they are continuing with their model rollout across the UK, certainly across Europe, and they've been making great inroads into the electric car market. So this week they announced that the Marvel R electric SUV will in fact be offered in Europe, providing customers with competitively priced rivals to such cars as the Kia e-Niro and the Nissan Leaf. So they reckon it's going to be priced from around 39,990 euros. That's £34,000 in sterling money. And you have a number of different trim levels that I shan't bore you all with, but as you can imagine, there will be different options that bring you different things inside the cabin and outside the cabin, and different range ability as well, because that is what money buys you. Money buys you range. But it's going to have a 70 kilowatt an hour battery pack fitted as standard, which will get you between 230 and 250 miles on a charge. There's also going to be a varying degree of power available through each of those cars, but most people will probably just go for the 170 brake odd version. But I have been getting more and more and more impressed with MG over the years as they've been redeveloping the brand, moving it away from sporty. I had an MG ZR back in the day, which was definitely not a Rover 25 in any way, shape, or form. But here we have the MG Marvel R. What do we think? I mean, it looks pretty space age to me.
I really like it. Yeah, certainly the front headlights are going straight across the grill. Loving that. Things that I always look for when we're talking about EV cars is charge. How quick can we get these charged up so you can kind of get on your merry way? 5 to 80% in 43 minutes. That is pretty good. We're now kind of getting to that level that we're wanting to see. Big news from the inside as well. This is going to be the first European market car that MG are offering with their new iSmart infotainment system inside. Huge touchscreen, like 20-inch on there.
It's massive, isn't it?
It is absolutely huge, but it looks brilliant. Mm-hmm. Traffic information, live weather reports. You can sync it to your Wi-Fi hotspots. There's a smart phone app that you can sync your routes, your calendar. This is awesome. This is kind of where we're going. Can I be a little bit naughty and says it looks a bit like the Porsche Cayenne or Cheyenne or whatever you pronounced it?
The Cayenne. You mean the Cayenne, my dear friend?
I'm sure I did.
It's been a long day.
It really has. I'm sorry. I'm currently drinking energy juice here, so I'm trying to stay awake. I was going to say the brand name, but there are many brands out there available.
Yes.
Not sure about the name. A little bit comic booky, or a little bit kind of circus showground.
So yes,
Marvel at the Marvel,
and that's the name I did want to quickly talk about before we move on to the next segment. Do we feel that calling it the Marvel was definitely someone's marketing genius moment? Go, well, it's a marvel because it's a marvel of technology. But get this, guys, there's also a huge film franchise called Marvel, and that means we're going to be in with all the young people. And you kind of go, yeah, just a bit of a stupid name, right?
Yeah. Somebody's just tick box exercised this decision, or you had a lot of people just not really knowing and just going, yeah, this sounds awesome.
Yeah,
as well. Yeah, it's good. I do like the stylish interior. Yeah, but this will do well.
I agree. I think at £35,000 to £40,000, people are going to probably go for this over the Skoda, whatever it's called. Can't even remember. Cognac or Koviak or something. Enyaq. There you go. I've got it written down. Sorry, Skoda. I think the Enyaq's actually pretty good, but choice is what makes the world go round, and this is yet another choice. MG have been getting better and better and better and better since they reintroduced themselves into the market. Talking of reintroducing MG to the market, we don't actually know when this is going to be coming to the UK. They've just said it's coming to Europe and probably the UK, but not immediately, because obviously they have to move the steering wheel over to the other side, and that is not the easiest of things to do, apparently. So
Who
there we
knew?
have it. Who knew? But do tell us what you think. We're interested to know how you feel about this latest MG. This is the Marvel. It is fully electric and looks like it's going to be pretty good value for money, starting at 30 odd £1,000, around 34, £35,000. So there we have it. I think it looks a little bit like a Mercedes EQC. Personally, that's my take on it. But doesn't matter what my take on it is. I want to know what your take on it is at home. And I did warn you at the beginning of tonight's show. It is quite pluggy, quite electrifying. But again, it's the world we live in.
As Cliff Richard would say, we're wired for sound.
That is a ridiculous reference, but I'm willing to pick it up and run with it as long as
one of his finest students.
Yeah, I mean, he's had a fair few. But don't get out the mistletoe and wine just yet. We're heading to Aston Martin country. This is cool. So, news this week from upmarket, uptown girls, Lunaz, as they bring us news that they're going to be converting Aston Martin DB6s into electric-powered wonder cars. So Lunaz Design, if you don't know who these guys are already, they take beautiful, older, vintage classics and they convert them from being dinosaur juice-guzzling cars into, electric EV-powered cars. So the DB6, they're sacrificing the 4-litre straight six for a Lunaz in-house modular 80 to 120 kilowatt battery pack. That will give you a range of 255 miles. They haven't said how much power you're going to get, but if it's anything like the Rolls-Royce Phantom and the Silver Cloud that they've already converted and offered to customers, it will produce around 375 brake horsepower. The interior remains pretty much like the same interior. They're going to stick some air conditioning in there. It's going to be a very, very, very limited run, of course, because to do this is probably going to cost over $1 million to people. And that's before you add any kind of tax, which will be probably a bit of a turn up for the books for the individuals that buy this. Tax, it's the thing you pay to give back. First deliveries are expected in the third quarter of 2023. They've also said at Lunaz HQ that they're going to do DB4s and DB5s, again, built to order, highly limited numbers. The DB6, one of the world's most beautiful vehicles, converted to use electric power. What about this?
Well, the first word's out of my mouth. The first word is also what. The second word is the. And I don't think we can say the third one due to the fact we're going out at 7 o'clock. Anyone who is only listening back to us, you can see with my shirt, I do have a black armband on for this. The word conversion scares me because this is sacrilege. I'm sorry. What the flying beep is this? Why on earth would somebody do this to this car? They're talking about sensitive integration of an infotainment system, full Wi-Fi. No, leave it be. Come on, it doesn't need this. This is an absolute classic, beautiful car. And how much was it? How much?
Over $1 million US, £733,000 apparently.
So Lunaz must be really kind of a shortened version for lunatic if you're actually going to pay to have your DB6 done to this. I'm sorry, no. I'm putting this. Yeah, these cars are meant to be driven as they're meant to be done. Full stop.
It's
not a fan.
It's interesting, isn't it? I don't feel hugely differently, but I do. I'm on the fence. So I know that this is a thing, and I think I let it wash over me. I don't know how many of these. I mean, first of all, the car is expensive. I mean, it doesn't matter what you do, petrol driven or otherwise, to buy a DB6
If you've
is
got a spare one lying around,
oh, mate, yeah, it's savagely expensive. However, converting it will do something to its dynamic, to its feel, it is a little bit like buying a grade 3 listed property and somehow getting permission to rip the whole thing to shreds and sticking a whole interconnected, updated tech interior to it. You pull up outside and the house is from 1580, but then you walk in and the first thing that beeps at you is your brand new interconnected intercom system with your phone that can shut the windows at one button. Kind of, it's still a house.
I can't let you do that, Hal.
Yeah, exactly. It's all a bit 2001, isn't it? I think my overriding feeling about Lunaz converting these cars at astronomical prices is I don't care. I don't care. As long as there are some originals left, and there always will be, someone who's bought a DB6 and will keep it in perfect condition for future generations to enjoy, then I don't care, because it doesn't impact real life for me. And I can't fathom how it's going to make a difference. I think in theory, I'm probably against it. In practice, I don't care. And that's kind of it. But do you care? Not you. I know you care. I know you care. But do you care at home? Tell us in the comments. Do you agree with other Stu? Is replacing the 4-litre straight 6 that lives traditionally in a DB6 with a set of AA batteries, is that sacrilege? Or are you a bit like me? Do you genuinely not care? You're just happy that DB6s are being looked after and potentially converted into a setup that generations afterwards can enjoy because you can plug it into the mains. This is polarizing. It's going to be polarizing. I think it probably adds a driving dynamic that's different.
If the rules are completely changed about kind of fuel cars, and they said, oh yeah, if you've not got a fuel car, this thing has to be crushed into a little cube, then yeah, go for this type of thing. Absolutely. I don't think it's ever going to get that extreme. Certainly not in our lifetimes.
No, I agree. Yeah. I think maybe that's the hypothetical caveat. If the world turns around and go, if your car isn't electric, we're going to crush it, then thank God they're turning DB6s into electric powered vehicles, because otherwise we would. I mean, this has been one of my favorite cars since I was a kid, and for me, it's always been how it looks rather than how it drives, because I've never driven one and I've never heard one in real life. So the fact that they're turning it into something else, it doesn't really impact me too much. But it is what it is. Progress stops for nobody, unfortunately, depending what your point of view is. And luckily for everybody watching and listening, ours differ. So it is.
It'd be boring if we agreed all the time, though.
Well, exactly. But we're leaving the world of electronic goodness and we're going to enter the world of petrol power. Huzzah! Before we bring you an update on a double touring car champion, here's a little taster of what we've been up to and who we've been talking to.
From pop star to track star. Today on Is It Fast, we're talking with Sam Callahan about his journey into motorsport, why he loves fast cars so much, and just what we're doing here at Brands Hatch.
Sam Callahan. So there we have Sam Callahan. He talked to us this week about his journey from being a pop sensation and adding to his ever-growing list of skills as he enters the world of motorsport. So do head over and watch that video live right now on our YouTube, on our Facebook, and I believe it's also on Instagram television, which I believe is something that people watch as well. So there we have it. But we go from someone who's about to start winning to someone who has been winning a lot. Last weekend, we saw the final round of the European TCR Touring Car Championship, as we saw Mikel Ascona being crowned the first ever double champion within that discipline. Very well done. It was kind of always going to happen, I think. But still, the guy had to go and make it happen. So not only did he then race at Catalonia, he then jumped on a plane and headed to the Czech Republic to race in the WTCR, the World Touring Car Championship, for those who don't know, where he is still mathematically in with a chance of winning the WTCR as well. And for those who are wanting to know, Seb Loeb Racing Team won the team title this year. So that was a very successful season for them. Did you catch any of it at all?
Yeah, I was able to catch a bit of it. You've got to love Ascona Security's second championship, but by qualifying on pole and winning the first race, he just had to sack off the final run.
Yeah, I know.
It was all done. Like, jobs are good and well done. You've got to think that's phenomenal. Massive hats off to him. He was about 55 points off the top it had a really difficult start of the season. He managed 1 point in the first 4 races. So clearly just kind of sucking everyone into a false sense of security, and then just had at it. And I've got to read a quote from him here saying, "I am the European champion at this moment, so I want to be the world champion in the future. Why not this year?" You're like, brilliant, mate. Well done.
Yeah. He's a savagely quick man. He really is. And the car he's in is competitive, which does help, but you've still got to pilot it. And there you are, the European Touring Car Champion for the second time. Well done. There is still a few Touring Car championships to be resolved. The WTCR, of course, being one of them, where Mikel Ascona could easily, potentially, be a double champion, which is crazy. We have the British Touring Car Championship that comes to its conclusion next weekend as well. A very special interview coming next week to Is It Fast? One you don't want to miss. I promise you.
I know.
You do know. It is going to be belting. I can tell you that for free. But the thing is, with all these championships going on, all these motorsport championships going on across different disciplines, it can be very, very tough to keep up with what's going on. But luckily, there is an app that exists to help you keep up with.
I don't believe you.
Yeah, honestly, I'm telling the real truth. And to show that I'm telling the truth, have some evidence.
Results Hub. All motorsport results, all in one place. And now there's an app. Take results with you on the go as we bring you the latest standings from championships around the world. And there's more. Use the app to see who is racing and where with our handy calendar feature. Download the app now. Results Hub. All motorsport results, all in one place.
See, I told you. All motorsport results, all in one place, thanks to Results Hub, the app that you can download on your iOS telephone device, or if you feel more inclined to do so, feel free to head to the website and you can set up a nice little profile, all for free, add your favorite championships, and then you can head off and keep up to date, not only with the latest results, but also the handy calendar feature that will let you know what is around the corner. So there we have it.
Yeah, you know what? The Results Hub app, every time I go onto it, it's constantly developing. The guys over there are constantly working on it. They're adding more and more stuff. They take the feedback on board. They're developing the app. Yeah, it is actually brilliant. Really.
It really, really is. So download it today for free and keep up to date with, say, I don't know, the British Superbikes that's happening this weekend. Very much looking forward to looking back on that race at 7 o'clock next week. But talking of 7 o'clock, it's quite important for all of us to carry on telling the time. And the time is TikTok.
TikTok time.
TikTok time. Every single week, we bring you the latest in what's been going on in the watch world. And this week, come fly with me because Breitling are taking you on holiday.
That was bassy.
Yeah, it was very bassy. It was very, very. That was ridiculously bassy.
Slap at the bass.
Slap at the bass, man. News this week from Breitling. Small confession: that video you've just watched is not exactly the model we're showing off, but this one you're seeing here is Breitling have introduced the Navitimer. There we go. We rehearse, I promise. Breitling have introduced the Navitimer American Airlines Limited Edition. So a little while ago, they introduced Navitimers to celebrate a number of historic airlines, that some of which are not around anymore. American Airlines is. And to celebrate the fact that Breitling have an awful lot to do with pilots and airlines of the past, and there's quite a good little short on it that we should share at some point. They have created this, the American Airlines Limited Edition, limited to 100 pieces, 25 of which will have the stainless steel mesh that we saw just a second ago. And then the remaining 75 will be on a leather band like this one here. They are apparently exclusive to the US market. Would you like to know how much it will cost someone?
Oh, go on then. Tell us.
So one of the 25 that have the stainless steel mesh bracelet, which is this one here, that will cost $9,350. And then if you want one of the 75 with a leather band, slightly cheaper, at the very reasonable $8,650, presumably because it's American, before taxes. So
just buy it in the airport then.
Yeah, just buy it in the airport, exactly, which is appropriate. Buy it probably on the American Airlines. I don't know if they would sell it on American Airlines. I mean, there's only 100 of them. Anyway, doesn't matter. The Breitling Navitimer American Airlines Limited Edition Breitling watch. What do we think about this?
Oh, I'm just really not sure. The
Wrong.
face is extremely plain.
Wrong.
See what I did there? But it's stupid busy at the same time.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I'm sorry, you've missed out the obvious picture of the glass back on it that has the massive blue American Airlines symbol spoiling it. I know you can't see it, but it genuinely makes it now look like something that comes with your onboard meal when they've ran out of headsets. It does look a lot nicer with a leather strap. Thank God I'm saving myself, what was it, $700 there?
Mm-hmm.
But
value add.
But limited to 100 pieces. Christ, this time next year, they'll still have 95 of them for the price they're asking.
You reckon? I reckon, mate, straight away. They'll be gone. For a variety of different reasons, but they'll be gone. Yes, I did see the big American Airlines plaster on the back. I decided, in order to do Breitling a favour, not to show that. It was an executive creative decision. This one now with the strap, like the mesh strap, that's the one for me. I like it And the fact that they've got the big American Airlines logo on the back means you won't be able to see it. And that means I would get it.
Yeah, no, that's a fair point. It is somewhere, and it does have the classic mid-century design for a Breitling. That is an excellent look. It's kind of there to symbolize the first kind of portable flight computer, so to speak. So it is very kind of true. It's just hell of a busy for me. That's a personal thing. I appreciate Breitlings, sorry, but it's just not for me, I'm afraid.
This is the thing about watches. They are very much love is in the eye of the timepiece holder, I find. But I like it. But tell us what you think of the Breitling Navitimer American Airlines Special. If you want one that isn't a special, because there is only 100 of these, then you can get yourself just a normal one. It's a special limited edition of something that you can already buy, of just basically a Navitimer. Someone's probably going to come on and tell me that I'm mispronouncing it as well, because...
Oh, yeah. You're actually saying a Merry Christmas in Spanish. Feliz Navitimer.
I'm clipping that one up. But there we have it. Tell us what you think of the latest limited edition Breitling. It is available probably no more, if I'm honest with you. But
probably is gone.
Probably. Yeah, it's not. Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. It's pretty busy, but as long as the face isn't too big, I'm happy with that. So, a good rule to abide by, I find. But there we have it. I shall move swiftly on before I get myself in ridiculous amounts of trouble. And unfortunately, we're heading back to electric news. Honestly, it just is what it is, right? Like almost legitimately, it is what it is. News from Berlin, kind of. So news this week from everybody's favorite supervillain to be, Mr. Elon Musk. Tesla have announced that they will be churning out cars from their new factory in Berlin from November, apparently. So they've built a new gigafactory that was 5 billion euros to make. I mean, what's not to trust about this guy? What's not to trust? I trust him. He looks trustworthy. No, he looks like a supervillain. He acts like a supervillain. The only person who acts more like a supervillain and looks more like a supervillain to be is Jeff Bezos. Okay. I've said it. And it's just my opinion. If you sue me, I can't afford to give you anything anyway, so don't bother.
You'll take your Amazon Prime away.
Oh, mate, have it. It's an absolute nightmare. So Tesla, they built a gigafactory outside of Berlin in Brandenburg. They are potentially going to be churning out the Model Y, the Roadster, and a multitude of different cars from this said new gigafactory. Elon Musk did say that the tough bit is not opening the factory or making the cars, it's getting up to production run, whatever that means. But they reckon they could produce between 5,000 and 10,000 vehicles per week. And it's also thought that the Tesla semi-truck is thought to be part of the plans for the new facility as well. Whether they make the truck there and then ship it somewhere else, I don't know. Who's buying? I still don't get trucks. I like them, but they kind of only work in the US, in my opinion. But anyway, there we have it. The news that Tesla's gigafactory outside of Berlin at Brandenburg is going to be online very soon, with cars coming out as soon as November. Do we care?
Yeah, we do care. I've got to say, a factory outside of Berlin is a little bit of a come down from a volcano layer he should probably have at this stage. But anyone that's kind of creating, they reckon about 12,000 plus jobs for an area, absolutely fantastic. The company actually offered 9,000 tickets to residents of the Brandenburg state to kind of come and see the factory. People are queuing for a long, long time to get site tours to see it.
To see this guy or just to see the thing?
No, to see the factory. He was there, and the reception he got, they reckon it was a bit like Sam Callahan, pop star.
Right.
Yeah, he kind of, everyone was just going nuts for him.
Well, he's a personality, isn't he? I know we're talking about a factory being open and the fact that they've invested 5 billion euros and there's 12,000 jobs, and these are all very positive things. Let's all be honest. You know, it's just it's just he's weird to me.
Yes.
He's great. He must be. I mean, he's obviously super, like, highly intelligent. Mr. PayPal, but at the same time, just freaks me out. He just freaks me out. He's just weird. But then I guess you've got to be, right?
And also with this opening in Berlin, Elon Musk saying that he's going to pull Tesla out of California. To be honest, I don't think I'd ever trust a guy with 6 kids telling me that he's going to pull out. But nah, Elon, keep doing your thing, mate.
Yeah, you know what? You make a valid journalistic point.
Yeah.
He has nothing but a record of not doing that. Yeah. But there we go. The news this week that Tesla's Gigafactory is opening in Berlin, and they could be churning out cars from as early as November. Tell us what you think. Are you happy that more cars are being made somewhere in the world? I'm not bothered. Sad news.
There's a lot of stuff you're just not bothered about this week.
It's not that I'm not right. It's not that I'm not bothered about developments in the automotive industry and the
DB6
fact that
or died, give a toss.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, but it's just sometimes news can be very samey. Every now and again, something will come out of the automotive industry that truly shakes up the industry. And we would be greedy to assume that everything that gets announced every single week is earth-shatteringly incredible. Sometimes we do get that. Most of the time, we don't. This week, it's just lots of things happening that don't float my boat as a consumer.
Middle of the road.
It's middle of the road. The show is not middle of the road. However, I've got to say,
our content is. Yeah,
I'm contractually obliged to say that this show isn't bad. I've got to say that it's good.
I heard a rumor that it's actually in the top 15 motorsport podcasts in the UK.
Top 15 motorsport podcasts in the UK. Top 25 automotive podcasts in the UK. The irony is it's mainly on video, but whatever. But it works. I mean, whatever. Thanks very much for watching. Comment, subscribe, like, share, sacrifice a goat. I don't know what we do on the internet nowadays. But that's my 10 pennies worth. There's a lot of news this week that's great because it gives consumers choice, but I'm not the consumer for you choice. Just I'll wait until something more interesting for me happens. This week, the world is somewhat going back to some sort of semblance of normality, which means we can go to sporting stadia, we can go to racetracks, we can hang out with our families again, which is so important. Something that isn't going to happen this year is the Geneva
I like how you
Motor
put
Show.
Stadia and motorsport, and then I can also go see my mum. Brilliant.
Yeah, I can go hang out with my mum. That too. You can come with me to a stadium and see if you like it. Not to the Faroes. Let's not talk about it. But something that isn't happening this year is the Geneva Motor Show. Cancelled, 3rd year on the trot. Is what it is. It's not going to happen. It does ask the question, are big motor shows like this, are they dead? Are they over? I know there's been a couple happening across the world this year. Lots of these things have been replaced by digital reveals, digital shows, and all the rest of it. And they work quite well. But fair enough, there's no substitute to the real thing. But just to let anybody know, if you're thinking of booking your ticket to Switzerland and heading down to the beautiful lakes and hills and milk chocolate cuckoo world that is Switzerland and Geneva, don't bother. It's not happening. So that's just to let you know, that's a bit of travel advice. You can always check the Foreign Office website, or you could just watch the show every week, and I'll tell you where not to go because something isn't happening. This week, don't bother going to Switzerland. The Geneva Motor Show isn't happening. However, if you want to go to Switzerland just to try out Switzerland, I would highly recommend it. One of the most beautiful places I've ever been in my entire life. Drove through it in 2018 in a Porsche 911, and it was absolutely savagely good. Highly recommend.
No. Yeah, I had a beautiful meal one time on the banks of Lake Geneva, which was absolutely fantastic.
Yes, does sound fantastic.
It really was, yeah. Beautiful day. It is a real shame the organisers are giving the age-old, well, now age-old excuses of direct and indirect issues for the postponement of the show, but they are promising to come back bigger and stronger than ever in 2023. So I'm guessing they're just kind of writing off 2022 as well, for obvious reasons. But I can see the traditional idea of the motor shows maybe has its day. Cost of manufacturers taking a stand is huge.
It's like 25 grand, isn't it? Or something ridiculous.
And that's a standard stand. Like a stand size stand. There's not any additional massive standard. But and it's also, yeah, as you correctly said, we can now do massive choreographed, directed, edited streams for unveilings as opposed to, yeah, let's just get somebody taking a tarp off a car.
It's not interesting. It's cool to see the cars. I do like a good car show. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm saying this, like, digital car shows are the way forward. Don't worry that Geneva is cancelled for 2022. Don't worry about all these kind of things. I will be one of the first people to go to a car show. I like Geneva. I've never been to the Geneva Motor Show. Paris, however, love it. Frankfurt, love it. So they're good fun. And you get to see the cars, and you get to catch up with people, and it's all good. It's just the way it's going at the moment. But we're not going to end on bad news. Always try and end on good news, because no one wants to be down. Everybody wants to be up. This week, it was announced the innovators, the movers, the shakers, the people that know the best are at Extreme E. Extreme E is the all-terrain, all-electric championship brought to us by the same people that do Formula E, and soon to be the E1 motorboat racing series. They've had to shift the Extreme E Championship a little bit because of the pandemic. So they announced this week that the final round of this year's Extreme E Championship is going to Dorset. It is the Jurassic X Prix because it's racing along the Jurassic coast. It was meant to be taking place in Patagonia, which is in Argentina. I don't know what the stake is like down in Plymouth. It's a little bit different to Buenos Aires, I imagine. But the good news is the last Extreme E X Prix will happen. They are doing it at the tank training ranges at Bovington, which is, I mean, open.
Yeah.
Nothing's going to get in the way, I get. And they are selling tickets, so people are going to be able to come down, apparently, and have a little look about, because obviously here in the UK, we're very lucky we can go and attend shows and stuff and sporting events again, which, is we should not take for granted. So there we have it. The Extreme E will finish this season in Dorset, which I didn't think I was going to say at the beginning of this year, but there we go. Extreme E, those four-wheel drive electric-powered cars are going around again. Over there in the tank. I don't know why I'm doing that.
We're going to get complaints.
I'm not taking the mick. I'm paying homage to the Dorsetian accent.
Yeah.
Is that a thing?
Yeah, must be. Are they one of the guys that kind of have the arguments about kind of what order the cream and the jam go on your scones?
Something like that. They also call them scones down there as well, which is very confusing.
Scone.
Yeah, it's definitely. Tell us in the comments. Is it scone?
Scone. Yeah.
Exactly. It makes no sense otherwise. But tell us in the comments, is it scone or is it scone? The correct answer is, of course, scone. But there we go. Tell us what you think about the Extreme E hitting the Jurassic Dorset coast instead of the open fields of Patagonia in Argentina. Of course, the Extreme E will make a stop at Sardinia as it makes its way over here. Wonderful news for everyone.
It is brilliant, though. It's been an amazing inaugural season of it. First time on the UK soil, obviously. But it's the Bovington military base steps in. This is really awesome. Surely we could arm these vehicles now. Get some proper Mad Max style kind of. I don't like the guy driving in front of me. I'm going to take him out.
Like a crazy like Mario Kart meets
Yeah, and Mad Max had to battle for over
Crazy
fuel things
factory.
as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
And the Jurassic coastline, but no dinosaur fuels required.
Oh,
That-
what a lovely segue. That is true.
yeah.
But there we go. Alejandro Agag.
Sadly, though, I've got to contradict you, Stu. Unfortunately, in order to minimise the effect on the surroundings, Extreme E are not opening this up to spectators. There's
Oh,
yeah,
I read the line that said tickets and assumed there'll be tickets, but what it actually said was no tickets.
I'm sorry, but yeah, it is going to be available to view for free, included on the BBC iPlayer, BBC Sport, and the ITV Hub as well. So you are going to be able to watch it, but unfortunately, just not in person.
Oh, well, there you go.
Which
That's
is
fine.
pretty awesome, considering you're going to be on a British Army base surrounded by tanks. I think that's probably just asking for trouble.
Yeah, probably. But there we have it. Extreme E heading to the Dorset Jurassic Coast. Tell us what you think in the comments, or as they say in Spain, los comentos, for whatever reason. And it's definitely not right. I can guarantee it. They might say it in Argentina, though. But
well, they're also cursing out Dorset. Yeah.
Oh, mate, you just know. You just know.
What? We lost out to Dorset?
Well, it is what it is. I'm sure it won't be the first people in history to say that. Probably won't be the last. Dorset, just famed for nicking stuff. I don't know. That's not true. I'm making that up. But with that false news, that fake news about Dorset, it does mean that this show has reached its conclusion. Not a conclusion we thought it would do, but it is what it is. Thank you very much for everybody for tuning in, either live, after the fact, either using your eyes or even your ears to consume our weekly show where we handpick some of the most interesting news from the automotive, motorsport, and everything in between world, and we love to bring it to you just to share our opinions. And most importantly, we love it when you share your opinions. So please do follow us on your social media platform of choice. Press that little bell to make sure that you don't miss a single show, not just the show that we do right now that you're listening to right here at the end, but also the live motorsport, the interviews, the programs of questionable educational and informative and entertainment merit. But thank you, as always, to all of you at home for listening. And thank you, as always, to Other Stu for helping us all decipher my garbled nonsense.
Not at all. It's always a pleasure. Thanks, Stu.
Isn't it just? But with that, thank you very much. Remember to tune in next week live at 7 p.m. as we bring you more of our hand-picked news. Ta-ta.
Bye.